She was lying by the front door long before I was born. I was 10 when I first really saw her, but everyone said she was already there when my mom was brought home from the hospital. Old, gray, with eyes like water that had drowned the sky. And she looked at me like she'd been waiting for me for a very, very long time. I never knew where she came from. No one talked about her. She wasn't a pet. She wasn't our anything. She just was. Lying there on the stone step outside the door, motionless, as if she'd melted into the earth. Sometimes she looked like a pile of rags. Other times like something that had died a long time ago and just hadn't figured it out yet. I asked my mom once, "Who is she?" My mom's lips tightened. "Don't touch her," she said. "Don't talk to her. Just go inside." So I didn't, but I watched. She wasn't a dog, not really. She had fur, 4 legs, a long, wiry tail. She didn't bark. She didn't move. She didn't blink. Her eyes were glassy, pale, the kind of pale you see in old mirrors or the sky just before a storm. They looked through you, past you, into something else. Sometimes, when I left for school, she was there. When I came home, she hadn't moved an inch. Other times she was gone, and the house felt colder when she wasn't there. At night, I could hear her claws on the porch, not scratching, just dragging, like she was pacing slowly in front of the door, back and forth, guarding it.
When I gave birth to my son, my grandmother whispered to me, "She'll come back tonight." I didn't understand who she meant, but later that night, I heard the front door creak, even though no one touched it. I heard claws on the wood, slow, deliberate steps. I knew it was her. But this time, she didn't come for us. She came to protect us.
She wasn't our dog. She was our story.
I didn't know what she was. Not yet. All I knew was that the night I finally saw her stand, something else came scratching at the back door, something no one else heard, and she growled, low, deep, like the earth itself was warning whatever it was to go away. I watched through the crack in my bedroom door. I saw her, not lying anymore, but standing. Her back was arched. Her fur bristled in clumps like dry weeds. She faced the darkness like she'd done this before, like she knew what was coming. The next morning, there were long gouges in the wood at the back of the house. Not hers. They were too high. My mom didn't say a word when she saw them. She just touched the marks with her fingertips, her face pale, lips trembling. She knew something I didn't. Not yet. She wasn't there every day. Sometimes she'd disappear for weeks. I'd open the front door and look for her, and the step would be empty. Just cold stone, leaves stuck in the corner. The wind would rush past my legs like it was trying to whisper something I wasn't old enough to hear. But I felt her absence. The house always seemed colder when she was gone. Not the kind of cold that made you grab a sweater. The kind that made your skin prickle and your stomach knot, like someone was watching you from the closet and just hadn't decided whether to open the door. I asked Mom again when I was 11, "Why doesn't anyone else see her?" She was cleaning dishes, her back to me. Her hand paused, hovering over the sink. She didn't look up. "That's not your concern," she said, almost too calmly. "Go do your homework." But it was my concern. She was always there for me. My friends never mentioned her. Not when they came over to play. Not when they stood at the front door calling me outside. They walked right past her, as if she wasn't there at all. One time I pointed and said, "Don't you see her?" Mason, my best friend, gave me this weird look. "See who?" I looked again, and she was gone. That night I heard her return. The dragging sound of claws on the porch boards, that heavy breathing, like she was sick or tired or carrying something heavy on her back. But she always came back. It wasn't until Grandma's journal that things started to make sense. We kept her things in a cedar trunk in the attic. After she passed, Mom never opened it, just locked it, left the key on the hook by the stairs, and told me to stay out of old things. But I didn't listen. I was 12, and 12-year-olds think they know better. Inside the trunk were scarves, photos, a lock of baby hair and wax paper, and at the bottom, a leather-bound book. No title, just pages of tight, looping handwriting. The first entry was dated 1949. She came again last night.
Her fur was darker this time, ash instead of snow. I wonder if she changes with the seasons or with time. Papa told me not to fear her. He said she's older than any of us, and not to look her in the eyes too long, not unless you want her to see you. Some nights, she growls at the corner by the stairs. I can't see what's there, but I feel it. The air gets thick, and I start to cry before I know why. Mama says she came from my uncle first. He died in his sleep when he was 5. The doctor said it was fever, but Mama said it was the black one. That's what they call her in the old stories. Not a demon, not a ghost, a watcher.
I stopped reading after that, because that corner by the stairs, the one Grandma wrote about, it was the same corner where our dog, our watcher, always sat when it rained, where she'd stare into the dark for hours without blinking. I remember once, during a thunderstorm, she sat there for so long I thought she had died. But then I saw her ears twitch. She was listening. And the moment the thunder stopped, she growled. Low, bone deep, like it came from somewhere beneath the floor. The night after I read the journal, I had a dream. I was standing in our hallway. The air was thick like syrup. My legs didn't want to move. There was something at the end of the hall. Not walking, not crawling, sliding. Its limbs moved in strange, wrong angles. Its face wasn't a face at all. Just folds of skin and teeth that didn't know where they belonged. And standing between me and it was her. Not lying down this time, not resting. Standing tall and still, her eyes burning that pale, drowning sky blue. She didn't move. She didn't growl. She didn't have to. The thing saw her and it stopped, twitched, shrieked, not with sound, but with pressure in my skull, and backed away, disappearing into the dark. I woke up gasping, my bedsheets damp with sweat. Outside on the porch, I heard her breathing. She wasn't here to haunt me. She was here to keep something worse away.
It started with the corners of the house. At first, I thought it was just my imagination. I'd walk past the doorway and catch a flicker of movement, like something ducking out of view just as I turned my head. The basement door, the narrow space under the stairs, the attic hatch and the hallway ceiling. All of them started to feel like they were breathing. The dog, the watcher, grew restless. She no longer lay by the front door like she used to. Now she moved from room to room, slow and deliberate, like a soldier on patrol. At night, I'd hear her claws tap softly against the floorboards. Tap, tap, tap. Stop. Then again. Tap, tap. Once I made the mistake of looking out into the hallway at 3 a.m. She was standing at the end of it, facing the wall, completely still. Her body was tense, her head tilted slightly to the side, listening, or maybe waiting. She stayed like that for hours.
The scratching began soon after, not on the front door, on the walls. Sometimes it came from the inside. Late one night, while Mom was asleep, I heard it from the closet in the spare room. Slow, rhythmic, like long fingers raking across the drywall. I crept out of bed, my heart pounding so hard I thought I'd throw up. I didn't know why I went to look. Maybe I wanted to prove it was just a mouse. Maybe I just didn't want to feel helpless anymore. I turned the knob. The door creaked open. Nothing inside. Just coats, a few boxes, an old vacuum. But the smell hit me. Wet earth, mold, rusted metal. Then I heard her growl. Behind me. I turned, and there she was, her body low to the ground, lips curled back, teeth bared. Not at me. At the closet. She lunged forward and slammed into it before I could move. The door bounced open again. She stood there, snarling at something I couldn't see, barking like she was trying to wake the dead. Mom came running. She pulled me away, screaming, her voice raw with panic. "What were you doing?" she cried, shaking me. "Don't ever open that door at night, ever!" The next morning, she nailed it shut. 3 thick boards, iron nails. No explanation. Just that quiet, dead look in her eyes. The one she only got when she was remembering something she didn't want to talk about. Mother's voice, shaky, whispered. "When I was little, I heard it too. Grandma said it was the hunger in the walls. She said it comes back every few decades. When the house gets cold in the summer, when animals won't come near, when children start hearing voices in the dark, that's when she returns. The Watcher." A week later, things escalated. I was in my room reading when the light bulb popped. Not flickered, popped. Glass shards sprayed down. I leapt back from my desk, heart hammering. From the hallway, I heard it. A voice. Faint. Male. Low and wet, like words spoken through waterlogged lungs. "Let me in." I froze. Then I saw my bedroom doorknob begin to turn. Not fast, not rattling. Slow, deliberate. I backed into the corner of my room, too afraid to scream. Then suddenly, a heavy thud against the door. Another. Then claws, scraping, dragging, tearing at the wood. But this time, I recognized the rhythm. It was her. She was on the other side.
The door burst open. She charged into the room, snarling like a beast I didn't recognize. Her eyes glowed in the darkness, not blue this time, but silver, sharp, lunar. Behind her, the hallway was wrong. The wallpaper was bubbling. The light flickered violently. The shadows on the wall twisted like they had bones. She placed herself between me and the door, growling low, loud, her fur standing up along her spine. Whatever was in the hallway did not enter. Instead, it hissed, like steam escaping from something ancient and angry, and vanished. That night, I slept in Mom's bed. She didn't ask what happened. She just held me and whispered, "She found you. She always finds the marked ones." That's when I understood. She wasn't haunting our house. She was protecting it. And whatever she was protecting us from, it was getting stronger.
The journal had always been there, tucked under the cedar-scented blankets, inside the old chest on the attic's far wall. But I hadn't opened it again since that first time. Not until that night with the hallway. Not until I saw the wallpaper bleeding. I waited until Mom went to bed. The house was quiet except for the faint creaking of the walls, like old bones settling. Outside, the watcher paced the porch again, her claws ticking gently against the rotting wood. I lit a flashlight under the covers and opened to a random page. The handwriting was shakier now, more frantic. There were ink smudges, scratch-outs, torn edges. Some entries looked like they had been written in the dark, words crooked and desperate. I began to read. It's not the house. I know that now. It's us. It's the bloodline. Every few generations it comes. No one remembers what started it. Maybe no one ever knew. Some say it was a deal, a bargain made long ago, sealed in silence. Others say it just chose us. The firstborn always sees it, always hears it. Some lose their minds. Some just vanish. The watcher chooses one to protect. Only one. I sat up, heart thudding. I was an only child. I flipped forward. There were drawings now, crude, jagged sketches of the watcher in different forms. In some, she looked almost human, hunched, long arms, wolfish face. In others, she was just a shadow with too many eyes, but always the same shape, always guarding a child. She came to me when I was 9, stood at the foot of my bed for 3 nights. I couldn't move, couldn't speak. On the 4th night, I finally whispered, "Are you here to take me?" And she sat down. She never left again.
I turned to the final pages. This part was different, messier, angrier. The sentences were broken, the grammar slipped. There were fingerprints in the ink, as if Grandma had been shaking. I heard it last night. It's scratching from inside now, behind the walls. It knows the watcher is weak. It waits for her to leave. I stopped. I looked at my bedroom wall, and I realized there was a long, thin crack above my headboard. A new one.
It was getting closer. The next morning, I tried to show Mom the journal. She didn't want to see it. "I told you not to dig into old things," she said sharply, taking it from my hands and shoving it in the kitchen drawer. "You think you're helping, but you're just feeding it." "Feeding what?" I asked. She hesitated, and for the first time, I saw real fear in her eyes. Not the kind that flashes and fades, the kind that's lived inside a person for years, nested there. Some things don't have names. Giving them one makes them stronger. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay awake, watching the crack in the wall. Around 2:12 a.m., it moved. It was so subtle I almost missed it, but it breathed, like a heartbeat just beneath the surface. I felt it through the mattress, through my bones. I closed my eyes and whispered, "Please." And then I heard the porch groan. The watcher was back. She didn't growl this time. She sat by my bed, eyes fixed on the wall, utterly still. And I realized she didn't need to fight it every night. She just needed to be seen, to be acknowledged. Whatever that thing was, the one in the walls, it hated her gaze, hated her silence, hated her patience. And maybe that's why she had always been so quiet. Because silence is power when you're the only one listening. I wasn't afraid of her anymore. I was afraid of what would happen without her.
It began before midnight. The wind outside wasn't natural, not sharp like winter or soft like autumn. It pushed against the house, pressing on the windows like something testing the edges. The watcher was already inside. She hadn't left the porch in days. Now she stood in the hallway, not lying, not pacing, just waiting. That night, Mom stayed up too. She sat at the kitchen table in silence, a cup of tea going cold in her hands. She looked at me once, then at the hallway, where the watcher waited, and said, "When it comes, don't run. Stay with her, no matter what you hear."
The watcher growled. For the first time I heard it, a true growl, not warning, not fear. It was rage. It shook the floorboards. She launched herself at the wall, and the wall fought back. What I saw next, I don't think I'll ever understand it completely. The darkness reached for her. Long, tendril-like limbs whipped from the crack, some lined with jagged teeth, some just vibrating with malice. It screamed, not out loud, but inside our skulls, the kind of scream that makes your nose bleed. The watcher's body glowed faintly, silver and white, like moonlight caught in motion. She tore at the dark with her claws, biting, pushing it back, shielding me with her body. But she was struggling. Whatever this was, it was older, stronger. It had waited too long. Suddenly, Mom appeared in the doorway. She was holding something in her hands, a small blackened wooden figure, a charm, a totem. I didn't know. I just saw her step into the hallway and speak. "Take me. Leave him." The thing laughed. Not like a human, like something that had learned the sound but didn't know how to wear it properly. "You're too late. The mark is his. You can't stop it." Mom looked at the watcher and then at me. "I can." She stepped forward. The charm in her hand cracked, and suddenly the air split. A wind, sharp as knives, whipped to the house. The dark screamed again, this time louder, as if something burned it from the inside. The crack in the wall pulsed once, twice, and then shattered. The thing was gone. So was Mom. Just gone. No scream, no trace. Only her teacup left spinning on the kitchen table. The watcher limped to the spot where the crack had been. She sat down slowly, breathing hard, blood on her fur. She turned to me, and for the first time, she blinked. Once. Then she laid down at the foot of my bed and never stood up again. They never found her. Just an open window, a cold cup of tea, and a boy too scared to sleep for the next 6 years. I buried the watcher myself, behind the house, beneath the cedar tree where she used to rest in summer. I still have dreams about that night. Sometimes I wake up thinking I hear her pacing the floor. But the scratching stopped. The walls are quiet now. I'm grown now, 33. I live alone. I never married, never had children, and I never opened that part of the attic again.
But sometimes, when the nights get too quiet, when the air turns heavy and I feel something shift behind the drywall, I leave the front door open.
just a little, and wait. She was never our dog. She was our history, our guardian, our sacrifice.
This story isn't over. Subscribe if you want the rest.